Hey, this is Max. Welcome back to another CSR2 video. I am here with the Grand Cherokee Trackhawk for this season's Prestige Cup. This cup was a little messed up when it initially started. People were not getting the fusions they were supposed to, but Natural Motion fixed that pretty quick. I am now running it, and I am going to go through this cup and at the same time discuss some Stage 6 effects of the Jeep Grand Cherokee Trackhawk. So how difficult is this Prestige Cup going to be? My feeling is it's going to be as difficult as it was the first time because Natural Motion isn't likely to reprogram this cup just for us to make it easier. And the first time, it wasn't all that easy. All right, now at full stage 5, the Grand Cherokee Trackhawk is not the fastest thing out there in Tier 4, running basically high 13s. Not only that, depending on when you use the nitrous and how well you shift and what device you use, it's kind of hard to even hit dyno with this car. Now, there are players out there that are really good and can get slightly under dyno, but for the average guy, this particular Prestige Cup is going to require you to have enough parts to beat the target time. I'm running actually about a tenth slower than what the dyno says it should be running. Here I'm going to try again with a little bit different nitrous shift. That one I hit nitrous low early. It's also going to hurt its time. Fourth and second both doesn't really do that well. Usually third seems to come out with the best. But again, you have to test it your own way and see what happens. So again, 13A6A, it's a little better with second gear nitrous, but I think third is probably the way to go. Now, let's take a look at stage 5 only. With stage 5 only, the car runs 13A23. Not the best, not the worst, but certainly not very fast. I don't have a really complicated tune either. I usually leave transmission stock. You could eke out a little more performance by putting the transmission to a more aggressive point, but it'll be harder to get the actual shifts done. Here I put in stage 6 body. Let's take a look at the change. Now body is actually a pretty good stage 6 from what I've seen. And here the evo points and stuff changes a little bit. Again, I can tweak it for a few points just by playing with tire and trans combo, but making it easy on myself, I'm just going to tweak tire and leave trans. 13569 is a nice drop from 13832, but it's not necessarily a huge thing. Now, speed trap wise, this speed trap is relatively easy. Even at full stage 5 only with full fusions, you should be able to easily beat the speed trap. But if you're short on fusions or short on parts, these can become more difficult. However, at 127 really shouldn't be much of a problem. As you can see, I'm getting the G parts. 124 mile per hour, I did 164. So I have a huge margin of error here for the speed traps. Here we're going to do another race just to kind of see what the time comes out to be. That's third gear nitrous, short shifting everything a little bit. And hopefully I won't forget to shift into eighth. There we go. Sometimes I forget. I leave it as seventh and look away to do other things, and the car doesn't run so well. All right, 13669 is nothing near the 1356, so I'm still a tenth off. I'm not going to try to figure it out right now. All right, so going from body, we move on to tire. Now, tire may not be a very good stage 6 for this thing. Here, it's a 13716 without fine tuning. I'm not really going to fine tune it much either. I'm just going to kind of leave it be to move along here. There's a point right there. All right, 13714, no real change. That's not a very good time. I mean, you're going from 1382 to 7714. That's about maybe a little over a tenth in theory, but I'm running about a tenth slower than where I should be to start with. Okay, again, with speed traps, you should have no problem whatsoever. Again, if you are really struggling, my only advice is try to set the final gear to where the speed tops out, and then try to use nitrous as late as possible, sometime in the 6th or 7th gear, depending on how long your nitrous duration is. All right, so we're going to take another run just to kind of see. I used nitrous fourth gear that time. Again, I don't foresee this being particularly good run. Oh, 7th gear. Oh, I didn't shift into. All right. It is what it is. That's not going to be a very good run. 13-9. Okay. Well, the opponents are running 17 so far, so that's not a big deal. Let's move on and take a look at the next stage 6. All right, so tire kind of weak. Let's take a look at transmission. That's a nice PP bump. If the Evo jumps a bit too, this should be a pretty strong stage 6. Looks like the Evo did jump as well. It's 590. I can probably get a point or two out of it. Not a whole lot of variances from tuning unless you're going to go really aggressive with the final gear and then try to push for a weaker or a tighter grip. I'm not going to do that. I'll just kind of leave it here. 13403. Again, that's a ballpark number. You could probably get a little better than that, but that makes trans so far the strongest stage 6. Better than body. All right, I'm sorry. My keyboard locked up there. I wasn't able to. So that kind of screwed that run up a little bit. It definitely should do better than a 4.2. I would say something in the threes would be a fair 0 to 100 for this car. But let's take a run. Let's see what it does with the trans installed. Okay, not a perfect launch. Not the best run that time either. But again, 13.4 it was the dyno. I should at least be able to run a 13.5 on this. 13,499. So again, about a tenth off with the way I'm driving it. I don't like this car. I really don't drive it very well. And quite frankly, I just want to get through this Prestige Cup, put this car away, and never look at it again. Except for that Crew Cup. If they ever fix the Crew Cup, I'll have to run that. But other than that, since the last time it was a PC Cup, I never used this thing for anything. And I expect after this PC Cup, it'll go right back into its dark corner and continue to collect dust. Okay, so here we're moving to the next stage 6, 13,576. Okay, so that means engine is about close on par theoretically with body in the 13.5s range. Fully once you fully tune it. So engine's not terrible. It's a theoretical 3/10 drop, but let's see where it brings us. So right now, obviously, the strongest one is trans. So if you get trans, that's going to be very helpful to you. Speed trap, once again, is moved up to 139, but even with stage 5 full fusions, you can easily hit that. So I don't see speed trap being difficult in this particular Prestige Cup. Running again, another run just to get a feel for where we're at. Third gear nitrous, well, that's actually fourth gear, but close enough. Okay, I actually remember to shift into 8th that time. Not too bad, not too good. Ooh, that's actually pretty bad. So again, still a tenth slower. I struggle a little bit to even hit dyno with this thing. So, all right. Well, that was engine. Let's move on to turbo. Turbo intake generally is not very strong. Actually, it's not that far off from engine. So you got body, engine, turbo, all kind of falling in the 13.5 something range. Although I would say body's still the stronger of these. 13.5A9, theoretically anyway. Let me see how close I can get it. Probably a 13.6A9 if I get all my shifts right. Okay. Oh, forgot nitrous. Wonderful. All right. All right. So as you can see, I'm pretty sloppy this morning with this, with the shifts and everything, nitrous activation, but I'm getting through the cup. I have basically a fully maxed car, so I don't anticipate getting stuck. We're going to look at the combinations later. All right, so here's a 0 to 100. Again, let's see if I can do it right this time. I use nitrous almost immediately, and that gives us a nice low 3.4 0 to 100, which is where I expect this car to be. So not too bad on that. This is actually a pretty good 0 to 100. All right, so moving on. Intake. Now, intake traditionally is a crappy stage 6. So I'm not holding up a lot of hope for it. The question will be whether it can actually outdo tire, right? Tire may be outperformed by intake, maybe not. So see, I'm trying some more aggressive final drives. I'm just not going to mess with it. It's not worth it. At this point, just kind of lowering the grip a little bit will get me a pretty decent increase in Evo points, and that gives us a nice and weak 13,762. All right, so intake is actually worse than tire, which I believe was a 13,714. So intake definitely comes in on the bottom here with tire second to last. And then you're kind of moving up the charts here with turbo, engine, body, and right now trans is sitting on top, unless Nitrous can dethrone it when we get to Nitrous. Now, since I'm missing a fusion in Nitrous, my time on the Nitrous tune will be a little off, so we have to keep that in mind. 13848, basically, uh, that's what stage 5 only dynos around 13832. So I'm not quite even doing as well as what the theoretical time would be on stage 5 only. Okay, so here I'm just going to run Nitrous really late and see if it helps the final speed. And eh, eh, 166. I was doing about 164, 165, so not that great. All right. So the last stage 6, and it's missing again an Epic Fusion in it. This one may be able to outperform Trans or maybe not. But let's take a look first, see what it looks like when we tune it. Again, I'm doing kind of like a fast, sloppy tune just to get through the Prestige Cup here. I'm not particularly concerned about getting stuck, so my tune's not going to be the absolute best points you can get out of it. If you really want to look for detailed write-ups on this, I would suggest you maybe to look at Facebook page. Cam Place usually puts up a very detailed tune. Those are very fine-tuned numbers as well. So 13438, I think it is very, very close to trans. I don't remember if it tops trans at this point, but let's just say that with the extra Epic Fusion, I may want to put Nitrous first. So it's either going to be trans or Nitrous first and second. So those are the two critical stage 6s you're going to want. Because quite frankly, tire and intake's pretty useless. Add in that generally speaking, most players will have a hard time even hitting dyno. Having those two stage 6s probably won't even get you a better time than what you could do if you were a good driver with full stage 5. So not a very promising situation if you don't have trans and nitrous in place. So let's take another run, see where this puts us. Okay. What's really sad is that this is actually a pretty good car as far as actual drag car in real life for a big SUV. But here in the game, it's just kind of falling on its face. All right, 13459. That actually comes closer to dyno than any other stage 6 I've tested. So that's not too bad, I guess. And I'm at 19,000 place. I'm not worried about that. I usually end up somewhere in the few thousands range at the end. Okay, let's take a look at combinations. First, always, let's look at the weak combinations, right? So intake, turbo, tire are the 3 weakest ones. Let's see where that put us. I'm going to put engine in later, but let's take a look at 3 of them first. Quick dyno, 13432. So the 3 stage 6s combined theoretically will get you down about 4/10. I guess that's not too bad, but knowing already that the final time is a 12.8 or so, you're still about 6/10 off. And I'm running basically full fusions here. That's pretty bad. Let's assume we now throw in the 4th stage 6. So now we're talking about 4 stage 6, almost full fusion, 13,192, not even close to beating the final time. In fact, you're going to be pushing it, I think, to even get to race 28 with that number and that time. So 4 stage 6, basically it is full fusion for those 4 stage 6. And we're not even looking like we're able to get through race 28 here to get another stage 6. So if you're running this Jeep as your first time getting it as a Prestige Cup car, and you got screwed out of those fusions, I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be very much stuck right near the end here when you get to like race 26, 27. So we're going to keep jumping along here and just kind of see where the progression goes. But you can see the time attacks here. That means each race is going to escalate very quickly now, and things are going to get slowly but definitely tougher and tougher. Race by race, you're going to have a slight jump in the enemy's time or the opponent's time. So you're going to have to get fast enough to beat them. Again, I'm doing 13.4. I don't have a problem yet. Going into race 24, they're only running 14.3. But I can tell you by race 28, things are likely to be very different. Okay, let's do one more, and then let's go back and try a different set of combinations. Now, this time, I'm going to go back and switch to the stronger stage sixes, and let's see what a difference that makes. Right? So again, I'm still running somewhere in the 13s, low 13s, which is great. That was actually a pretty good run, 13.214, but again, not quite enough to get me through the end. And that's based on other players' final time that's already been disclosed on Facebook. And I doubt I'm going to get a very different one. I think it's something like 1278 is what people are facing generally. All right. So here I'm going to put in just the three big boys. Trans body nitrous. That changes the game for you right there. 1273. So theoretically, these three missing one epic nitrous fusion will get you through to the end. Okay, I may be able to eke out a little bit more, but it's going to be very, very marginal, and it doesn't really make that much of a difference. So here, running it again, you're looking at 12.7 is the theoretical, but I think I'm going to end up running probably like 12.8, 12.9. I doubt I'm going to run 12.7s without pushing in another stage 6, just because I know I've been getting about a tenth slower than whatever the dyno says. Oh, that's not bad. I actually got that. All right, that may just be enough to squeeze me through without further upgrades. But so far, race 26, we're still looking at a pretty slow opponent. Let's see what happens as you get to race 28 or so. Okay, so here we go. Definitely getting faster, but still leaving them behind, which is good. But notice the gap is not as big as it was before. So I'm steady running 12.7 something to 12.8, and the opponent is now down to 13.2. So wait a minute, I think the last one was still pretty slow. Now it's a 13.2. That means we're going to jump to definitely faster opponents. Now, I don't want to have to redo these runs over and over, so here I'm going to go ahead and put everything in. This will guarantee that I won't have any problems beating race 28 and on. Again, I'm just going to tweak tires slightly and just leave it be. I'm sure it's going to be fast enough now. 12050. There's more to it there. If you go look up Zukar in his videos, he'll show you probably the optimal tune for a fully maxed Trackhawk, which I believe uses a 4.02 final drive and an 8/92 tire setting with a shorter and more aggressive nitrous. Bottom line is, I'm not worried about that. I'm here to just finish this cup. Now, obviously, with all these parts installed, there shouldn't be any problem for me to beat it. But let's see how quick the opponents are at this point. Now, remember, if you don't have all these parts, this is where you're going to be getting stuck, right around here. Okay, race number 29, 12.9 for the opponent. So you really need the strong stage 6 at that point. If you don't have it, you're not getting it. All right, so final race to get my 180K points. I don't foresee having a problem here, obviously. Well ahead. 12.0 something, probably 12.1 really. And what do we get? 12.071, 12.758. So it's actually 12.75 for my opponent this time. I'm sure there's a little bit of margin there with the differences, but 12.7, 12.07, so I'm okay. I'll take that. I'm in the 1,182, whatever. That's fine. I'm happy with that position. And I'm happy I finally got this Prestige Cup done. I am not going to look forward to driving this car again. This thing is going right back in the dustbin until it is required again. I'm going to go ahead and put it back to my Easy Supply Cup tune and leave it be. Wait for the crew cups to be fixed and hopefully run that. So this is a tough PC cup. And if you're just starting with this Jeep, you're probably going to have to pull crates or get very lucky. This is not a great car. I don't even recommend it for use in Tempest 3 simply because I don't like it, but it can do the job for sprints. Well, that concludes the Prestige Cup for this season for me, for this account. I hope you liked the video. Leave me comments or questions if you have any, and please subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications. And thank you for watching my video.